with you. With you. With you. The sunshine.
When we went back over 50,000 years, we went back in time and we came to the Ethiopian motif. Here we see the brothers here with the feathers on their head that we still see on the temples of Kemet. And here we see the brothers of here are still one with Manechu. That's why we call the land the Kui land, the spirit land. And ancient Kemet said this was the land of God. And let's go back to the oldest people and stop looking at them as something's wrong with them. Down to the dawn of time in this area right here where I was able to get with the hammer. But what's beautiful about the hammer, as I observed from my empirical observation through my research, I was able to see how the culture of the Kushite culture, the Kushite Kemetic culture, came up from them. They're the ones that migrated down the Happy Nile, called the White Nile today, and also the Atbar, and also the Blue Nile. Now when you look and see some of the indigenous brothers in the southern part and sisters in the southern part of Ethiopia, here that was later looked at as the feather of Ma'at. Truth, justice, and righteousness associated with an African goddess that goes all the way back to the Kushites. Especially when you see the artwork and see the early Kushites with the feather and our Kushite Nubian paintings are identical to our brothers and our sisters, in the Kushite region and the southern part of Ethiopia. Also, we see Mentuhotep, the Heptriad Mentuhotep, over 4,000 years ago of the 11th dynastic period, who was a Wasetian. So these are the jet black kings who were the Kushites of Kemet. That's why they were from the south, or from Waset, that is now called Luxor, today called Thebes by the Greeks. And we see that Mima'at Ra, Amenhotep III of the 12th dynastic period, 1843 to 1797, was also Wasetian. You can see his locks thousands of years ago. Almost 4,000 years ago, wearing the locks, which is a tradition and culture that came up out of the Nile Valley of ancient Kushite Ethiopia. So these are the jet black kings who were the Kushites of Kemet. That's why they were from the south, or from Waset, that is now called Luxor, today called Thebes by the Greeks. are the jet black kings who were the Cushites of Kemet. That's why they were from the south, or from Waset. It is now called Luxor, today called Thebes by the Greeks.
Now right there, that's our brother Mentu Hotel. He came down there, and if I'm not mistaken, in the 12th dynasty. And he reconquered after an intermediate period. Kemet fell into chaos. And the brothers out of Waset had to come down there and make that correction. The Intel, that's where Ashraf Quay's name, Seti Intel. He was of the bloodline of the Intel. They were Wasetian kings and princes. Anytime Kemet fell into chaos, the push to reunify Kemet always came from the south. The first was Nama, the second was Mentu Hotep, the third was Amos, and the fourth was Pi'am. All right, then. The Scimitar, the unifiers of the land. Remember that. He's Nubian. The Egyptians are Nubians. And the brothers out of Waset had to come down there and make that correction. The Intels, that's where Ashraf Quay's name, Seti Intel. He was of the bloodline of the Intel. They were Wasetian kings and princes. Anytime Kemet fell into chaos, the push to reunify Kemet always came from the south. The first was Nama, the second was Mentu Hotep, the third was Amos.
So these are the jet black kings who were the Cushites of Kemet. That's why they were from the south, or from Waset. It is now called Luxor, today called Thebes by the Greeks.
We came from the beginning of the Nile, where God happily dwells at the foothills of the mountain of the moon.
When you understand the culture and the various brothers and sisters like the Romos, who are also called the Gala, who are the largest group in Ethiopia. And then we see the Tigrinya, which is spoken in Tigray province of Eritrea of Ethiopia. And we look at the culture of that area. We can see our Tigrian sisters who have their hair back. And then the Somali from the Gaudan region of the largest Muslim group. And then the Somali from the Gaudan region of the largest Muslim group. And then the Somali from the Gaudan region of the largest Muslim group. When you understand the culture and the various brothers and sisters like the Romos, who are also called the Gala, who are the largest group in Ethiopia. When you understand the culture and the various brothers and sisters like the Romos, who are also called the Gala, who are the largest group in Ethiopia. And then the Somali from the Gaudan region of the largest Muslim group. As we look and see the Hafar region, nomads of northeastern part of Ethiopia, and we see here, this is in the eastern region of Ethiopia. So we see a very diverse group of brothers and sisters as we look at the Hafar. As we look and see the Hafar region, the nomads of northeastern part of Ethiopia, and we see here, this is in the eastern region of Ethiopia. So we see a very diverse group of brothers and sisters as we look at the Hafar, as we look and see the Hafar region, the nomads of northeastern part of Ethiopia. And we see here, this is in the eastern region of Ethiopia. So we see a very diverse group of brothers and sisters as we look at their far. You don't even know that your genetic memory bank gave you that hairstyle. You know, you naturally start getting African braids. You start to look like some of the brothers and sisters on the African continent that Mary Roz is going to show you as well. That's showing an African genetic memory bank that's taking place. As we see our Tigerian brother here, is identical with the hairstyle, also with ancient Kush. One African culture of the African Nile Valley that we're speaking of here. When you understand the culture and the various brothers and sisters like the Romo, who are also called the Gala, who are the largest group in Ethiopia. As we look and see the Hafar region, the nomads of northeastern part of Ethiopia, and we see here, this is in the eastern region of Ethiopia. So we see a very diverse group of brothers and sisters as we look at the Hafar.
So all these phenotypes, all of these phenotypes are African. That's African. Quit lying, goddammit. Every phenotype you see on this planet, we was able to produce before any of them red races came along. We produce them right here in our own race. So all these phenotypes, all of these phenotypes are African. That's African. Quit lying, goddammit. Every phenotype you see on this planet, we was able to produce before any of them red races came along. We produce them right here in our own race. Look at, this is Meroruka. This is Meroruka. Now Meroruka was in the New Kingdom. I got to get the date on Meroruka. See the locks? See the locks? That's African. That's African. Matter of fact, Dr. Ben says Meroruka is Ramesses II great-grand-uncle. Okay? That's Ramesses' great-grand-uncle. Okay? This is what you see down in the Greco-Roman area. Now, when the Greeks came into Egypt, where did they set up? They set up right there on the Mediterranean at Alexandria. Why did they do that? Because the Africans hated their ass. They couldn't come down south.
The black man is the original man of this earth. We can live under the sun and give us strength. The white man gets sunburned and cancer of the skin. Fuck the Vatican, the pyramids is older. Shot off the nose and the lips of our statues. Mad it was black faces staring back at you.